When the world ended. I wasn't scared of the monsters. I was scared of what we became after. They said we'd rebuild, start again. But when I lost my brother, I learned the truth. Survival isn't living, it's just not dying yet. The road wound through the forest like a scar, the mist curling between dead trees. Every sound seemed amplified, the crunch of boots, the creak of leather, the faint echo of something moving far behind them. Mira couldn't shake the thought, if the dawn really wanted the boy, then she was carrying the most valuable thing left in the world. And the most dangerous. By dusk, they reached the edge of an old town. Signs half buried in ivy read, "Welcome to Raven's Hollow." The streets were flooded and silent. A playground stood in the center square, swings creaking in the wind. Mira motioned for Liam to stay close. Eyes open. "We'll find a place to rest, then move at dawn." They entered a building that used to be a bookstore. The smell of damp paper filled the air. Shelves leaned like skeletons, their bones of knowledge long rotted away. Liam picked up a book from the floor, The Road, by Cormac McCarthy. "How ironic," he murmured. "Don't get poetic on me now," Mira muttered. "We need to." A noise. Faint, from upstairs. A floorboard creaked. Both froze. Mira gestured for silence, then raised her rifle and started up the stairs. The steps groaned under her boots, every sound too loud, too human. She reached the landing, paused, then turned the corner. And saw her. A woman stood at the end of the hall, rifle slung low, eyes wide and familiar. "Mira," the woman whispered. Myra's blood went cold. She hadn't heard that voice in years. "Eva." The woman's lips trembled into a smile. "You're alive." The rifle slipped from Myra's hands. It couldn't be. Eva, the woman from her dreams, the one who'd handed her the baby and begged her to run. The one she'd watched die in a hospital full of fire. But there she was. Older. Scarred. Alive. "I don't, how?" Mira stammered. Eva stepped forward. "I escaped. They thought I was dead. I've been with the dawn ever since." The words hit like a bullet. "You what?" Myra's voice cracked. "They're not what you think, Mira. They're rebuilding. They're trying to save what's left." "By hunting children?" Mira snapped. "By chasing us?" Eva's eyes flicked toward the stairs. "You have him, don't you?" Mira froze. "You know about him?" Eva nodded slowly. "Liam, he's my son." Silence. Myra's heart stopped. The world seemed to tilt again, harder this time. Every breath felt heavy, every sound too sharp. "No," Mira whispered. "That's not possible. You told me to take him. To save him." Eva's eyes glistened. "I told you to take him away. Not forever. You weren't supposed to keep him from me." Mira stepped back, shaking her head. "He thinks you're dead." Eva's voice broke. "Because you let him believe it." Footsteps echoed from downstairs, Liam's voice, calling her name. "Mira? You okay?" Mira turned to the stairs, throat tight. "Stay there, Liam." But it was too late. He reached the landing, saw Eva, and froze. The look on his face said it all. He knew. Myra's voice was low, trembling. "You knew she was alive?" Liam's lips parted, but no sound came. Eva's eyes filled with tears. "Come here, baby." He didn't move. "Liam," Mira said quietly. "Don't." The boy's eyes darted between them, between the woman who gave him life and the one who saved it. And then, before anyone could react, the sound of an engine roared outside. Headlights flashed through the broken windows. Voices. Dozens of them. Eva's face went pale. "They found us." Morning sunlight filtered weakly through the cracks of the boarded-up windows. Ellie stretched, her joints cracking from the hard floor, and rubbed the sleep from her eyes. Jackson was still asleep beside her, curled up with his backpack like a pillow. For a moment, she allowed herself to imagine peace. The way life might have been before the outbreak. A small home, warm light, the smell of coffee. But the fantasy faded fast, replaced by the cold truth that peace didn't exist anymore. She got up and checked the perimeter, just like Joel taught her. Every sound made her tense. The rustle of leaves. A distant creak. Then she saw something. Fresh footprints. "Jackson, wake up," she whispered, shaking his shoulder. He stirred, blinking groggily. "What is it?" "Someone's been here. Recently." He was instantly alert, grabbing his rifle. "Bandits?" "Could be," Ellie replied. "Could also be worse." They packed quickly, every move efficient from practice. As they left the abandoned building, the air outside carried the sharp smell of smoke. Down the street, black plumes twisted up from where the old train yard used to be. Jackson adjusted his backpack straps. "If there's smoke, there's people." Ellie frowned. "Or bodies. But they needed supplies, food, ammo, anything." They followed the smoke trail carefully, staying low and out of sight. When they got closer, they saw them, a group of survivors, armed, burning piles of infected corpses. But something was off. One of the corpses was moving. Weakly. "Wait," Jackson whispered, grabbing Ellie's arm. "That one's alive." She stared. The man's hand twitched, his face blackened with ash, but his eyes begged for help. "We can't just leave him," she said. Jackson shook his head. "You know what happens. He's infected. Look at the veins." Ellie's jaw tightened. "He's still human." Before he could stop her, she broke cover and ran toward the man. Gunfire cracked behind her as the group shouted, "She's one of them." Jackson cursed and followed. Bullets tore into the dirt around them. Ellie dove behind a rusted car, dragging the wounded man with her. Blood smeared across her hands. "Please," the man rasped, "don't let them burn me." "You're gonna be fine," she lied. Jackson reached her, out of breath. "We can't stay. We need to move." "Help me carry him," she snapped. They half-dragged, half-carried the man through an alley as the survivors kept shooting. A bullet clipped Jackson's sleeve. Another hit the ground near Ellie's foot. Finally, they slipped into an old laundromat and barricaded the door. The man was fading fast, his breathing shallow. Ellie knelt beside him, holding his hand. He whispered something barely audible, "North, the Haven, find my daughter." Then he went still. Jackson exhaled shakily. "He's gone." Ellie sat there in silence, staring at the body. The words, "find my daughter," echoed in her mind. Jackson crouched beside her. "We should go before they find us." But Ellie didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the man's jacket pocket, where a small photo peeked out. A picture of a girl. Maybe 15. She took it out slowly. North. The Haven. A new goal was forming in her mind. Something to chase beside survival. She looked up at Jackson. "We're going north." He frowned. "Ellie, we don't even know if this haven exists." "Then we'll find out." He sighed. "You're crazy." "Yeah," she said, standing up. "But I'm alive." They left the laundromat behind, smoke still rising, gunshots echoing in the distance, and disappeared into the wilderness, chasing the faint promise of tomorrow. The air grew colder as they traveled north. Days blurred together, forests, empty roads, ghost towns swallowed by nature. Ellie and Jackson said little, words felt heavy out here. At night, the wind howled through broken houses like whispers of the dead. Jackson would fall asleep quickly, exhausted. But Ellie stayed awake, staring into the fire, clutching the photo of the girl from the dying man's jacket. The Haven. North. She didn't know why she cared. Maybe because saving that girl felt like redemption for all the people she couldn't save. 3 weeks later, they reached the foothills. Snow covered the ground, and in the distance, smoke again, but this time steady, controlled. Civilization. Think that's it? Jackson asked, shivering beneath his jacket. Ellie nodded. Only one way to find out. They approached carefully. A wall made of steel sheets and wooden spikes surrounded what looked like a settlement, real houses, solar panels, even a water tower. A large sign painted in red read, "The Haven, Survivors Welcome." Jackson's lips twisted into a skeptical grin. Welcome, huh? Sounds too good to be true. Let's hope it isn't, Ellie replied, stepping forward. 2 armed guards stopped them at the gate. Drop your weapons. Ellie hesitated. We're not here for trouble. Drop them, one repeated, raising his rifle. They obeyed. After a quick search, the gates creaked open. Inside was something Ellie hadn't seen in years: normal life, children running. People laughing. The smell of bread. For a second, she almost forgot what the world had become. A woman approached, mid-30s, calm but firm. I'm Mara, leader here. You're far from safe zones. What brings you north? Ellie pulled the worn photo from her pocket. A dying man told me to find his daughter here. Mara's face changed. She took the photo slowly, eyes trembling. This is my brother. Silence. Even Jackson didn't know what to say. He's dead, Ellie said quietly. He asked me to find you. Mara closed her eyes, holding back tears. He was part of our scout team. We lost contact months ago. You brought him home in a way. For a moment, gratitude softened her face. Then something darker replaced it. But if you found his body, that means you led others here. You were followed, weren't you? Jackson frowned. No. We made sure. Don't lie to me, she barked. You think bandits can't track fresh tracks in snow? Ellie took a step back. We didn't. But then, from the distance, came the sound of engines. Trucks. Dozens of them. Mara cursed. Everyone to your positions. Sirens blared. The peaceful town turned into chaos, guards running, people hiding. Ellie grabbed her rifle as Jackson shouted, "We've got to help." The trucks broke through the tree line, headlights cutting through the snow. Bandits. Dozens of them, armed to the teeth. Gunfire exploded. The gates shattered. Ellie fired until her magazine ran dry. Jackson dragged her behind cover. Ellie, we've got to move. No. We can't leave them, she yelled, reloading. The battle was brutal. Fires spread. Screams filled the air. Mara fought like a soldier, fearless, desperate. But one by one, her people fell. Ellie saw a small girl, maybe 12, trapped beneath debris. She ran to her, ignoring Jackson's shouts. Hold on, she said, pulling the child free. But when she looked up, a bandit aimed his shotgun at her. A gunshot rang out, and the man dropped. Jackson stood behind her, breathing hard, rifle smoking. He gave her a grim smile. I told you I've got your back.